And fitness topic. By the end of this video we'll have come across the definitions, the relationships between health and fitness, and then our components of fitness, which you might well have heard of in terms of skill related and health related components of fitness in your GCSE course. Now, there's always been a problem with the definition of health, mainly because the original factors that we might have considered were all physical. So when someone looks ill or they have a disease, it's obvious that they're not in a healthy condition. But this obviously had to be expanded to a state of mental well-being as well as social well-being. And that definition of health is something that you would have to discuss if asked in an exam question to elaborate on your definitions of health and fitness. Fitness is a little easier to define. It's just being able to meet the demands of a physical task. So this lady is currently carrying what can only be described as an enormous amount of weight on her back, but as that's a task that she has to do each week in order to maintain her livestock, she has become able to do that, carrying it from the origin of the hay to her home. And because she can meet the demands of that physical task, she is physically fit to do it. I certainly wouldn't be capable of doing that, so therefore my fitness in relation to this task wouldn't meet the requirements. So just when you're defining health and fitness, make sure you're aware of the adjustments you can make in order to be healthy. That's have that sense of well-being. So we've got walking the dog, eating different foodstuffs, and then there's a difference compared to fitness, where someone who can lift an immeasurable amount of weight for some of us might well be able to cope with that if that's what his day-to-day work entails. But if he had to do some cardiovascular fitness over 20 minutes and he was just muscle bound, he might not be able to cope with that. So therefore he'd be physically fit for lifting the weight, but not necessarily for the cardiovascular endurance. And it's the same with a PE teacher being able to cope with 5 lessons that are outdoors, so they're physically fit for that, but not being able to climb a mountain. So that fitness level is relative to the demands of your day, week or year. Now, there are going to be 6 health related components of fitness we'll discuss, and I just want to concentrate on these 3. Strength will come to the fore in a little while, but speed, which is the amount of time it takes the body to perform a specific task, mustn't be confused with a single movement of a limb. In terms of health related components of fitness, speed is the amount of time it takes the body to perform. So we've got a speed skater here, or it could be a sprinter moving his whole body from one position to another, and that is crucial. It's the whole body to perform a specific task. And then with muscular endurance, there's often confusion that the endurance of a sport refers to the stamina or the aerobic capacity. In this instance, health-related components of fitness, muscular endurance is about the repeated contraction and relaxation of a single muscle or group of muscles. So a limb can repeat a movement time after time. So here's that focus on strength. The reason we're focusing on it a little bit more is because there are 3 types of strength you may well need to know for the A-level course and indeed your exam. The static strength, just where the muscles don't change length. Explosive strength, when you're trying to exert that force very quickly, so throwing the shot put is a great example. And then the dynamic strength, which is a little bit like the muscular endurance, trying to repeat the force being applied over a period of time. And just in there we've got the example of someone repeating reps on a weight bench. The final 3 health related components of fitness are cardiovascular endurance, power and flexibility. Cardiovascular endurance will be studied in great detail all the way through the 2 years of the course, but that ability for the blood vessels, arteries, capillaries and veins, alongside the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood to meet the demands of a continued period of exercise, so longer than 20 minutes is the given average, is our cardiovascular endurance. So remembering our weightlifter who might not be able to swim for 20 minutes, that's where there's a difference in fitness. Power is just the amount of force a muscle can exert, and obviously we train to be able to exert a greater amount of force for different events. And that flexibility, the ability of a joint to move through the full range of movement, that's in particular relation to not only the muscles that allow for the range of movement in a joint, but also the connective material, that's our tendons and our ligaments. And again, you can train that. So just 4 skill related components of fitness to understand. The agility that we've got, that ability to change the body's direction efficiently and under a certain amount of control, you will liken that to looking like you know what you're doing, or being aesthetically pleasing whilst you change direction very quickly. So you could liken that to Cristiano Ronaldo and his ability to change direction with the ball. We've then got balance, that sort of equilibrium achieved by keeping the centre of mass over the base of support. So with our friend here balancing on the ball, that looks like he's in control and he is centred his mass over his base of support. Some of us look less balanced than that, just day to day, it has to be said. Then we've got our coordination. Now, coordination is that balanced and effective interaction of the body actions and the limbs. Coordinated movements, again, look aesthetically pleasing, and you can see that they are fluent. So the limbs are working towards the common goal, which is to optimise the performance to perform the action. And then we've got our reaction time, and that ability to respond quickly to stimuli, and that can be improved as well, not to be mixed up with response time, which includes the movement, which we'll also come on to study later. So there we go, health and skill related components of fitness, all linked to the health and fitness debate.